This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth of sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1 and 2, is that I came across this article today by the Times of Israel where they're reporting how they found rare knucklebone dice with names of other gods show gaming in ancient Israel, all right, in our homeland. And when you read this article, though these knucklebone dice, the writings of it go back to the Hellenistic period. In fact, I'll start reading it, all right? And they found these knucklebone dice in our homeland, which proved that you had a lot of our people, okay? And this is in the time of the Hellenistic period, so this is Southern Kingdom, that were secretly engaging in heathen customs, all right? Learning the ways of the heathens. And the Lord said not to do that. So let's read this. It says, a rare collection of animal knucklebone gaming dice used 2,300 years ago during the Hellenistic period. Now, let's go to look up. Hellenistic period spans the period of Mediterranean history between the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC and the emergence of the Roman Empire. Okay? The period of Greece, that's it. So that's the Hellenistic period. Okay? So that's a long time. And you have a lot of our people that took on those customs and ended up becoming, okay, a Greek in the mind and Greek physically, worshiping, okay, Greek customs and Greek gods. And that's why Paul said there's no difference between Greek or Jew, because this was the time to bring back those Israelites that were in a Greek mentality. All right, to wake them up to their true nationality. I'll get that later. But let's continuing on. It says, have been found to be inscribed with the names of various deities believed to bring help and good fortune. The Israel Antiquities Authority said to Tuesday. So-called astragali, knuckle bones of goats, sheep, and cattle were used as dice in gaming and for ritual divination, mostly by women and children, the statement said. Right. And it's always the women and children be the first ones to be led. And that's why the Lord deals with men first. Okay? The pastor of my flock are with men, because women and children are easily to manipulate. Okay? And that's why the Lord is dealing with the men of Israel first. Okay? And you can see why, man. That's Ezekiel 34 and 31. And ye my flock, the flock of my pasture are men, and I am your power, saith the Lord. There you go. All right? And that's why, all right, when you see when you want to see order, all right, you see it, okay, mainly here at Great Millstone, those that follow the doctrine of Great Millstone when it comes to order. All right? It's Yahweh Shai, okay, then the Israelite man, then the woman, then the child. Let's continue on. The 530 astrogally were found several years ago in a large underground cave complex at the Marsha Bet Gavrin National Park in the Judean foothills in southern Israel. There you go. So this was found, okay, in the territory of ancient Israel. Now let's scroll down. I mean, you could get into it. It's Greek inscriptions. It's the name of these false gods. Like they go into with the dice hat on them, like Aphrodite, Eros, okay, Hermes, okay, Zeus, so on and so forth. All right, and our people were playing these dice games, which the Lord said not to follow, learn the ways of the heathen. So now let's scroll down just to make the point that our people were doing this. Check this out. It says, knuckle bones were often found next to ostraka pottery sherds with magical incantations, inscribed them in Aramaic texts. So they were written in Hebrew. Perry Gao explained. He described Marisha as one of the period melting pots in the southern Levant. Quote, different populations and cultures live side by side here as neighbors, all subordinate to the Hellenistic rule, Perry Gao said. They lived here Edomites, Phoenicians, Nabateans, and Jews, and the different peoples and cultures influenced, here's the point, each other. The Hellenistic period began with the conquest of the Holy Land by Alexander the Great in 2096 BCE and ended with the Hasmonean rule around 100 BC, right? Hasmonean dynasty. Okay? And this is when you had our people, all right, take back the land and kicked out the Greeks, all right? Then you get into a history of the Hasmonean dynasty. That's where you have the book of Maccabees, okay? So now let's get to, let's read another law from the law. Leviticus 20 and 23. And ye shall not walk in the manner of the nations which I cast out before you, for they committed all things, and therefore I abhorred them. Let's go to the NLT version. NLT. Do not live according to the custom of the people I am driving out before you. It is because they do these shameful things that I detest them. Exactly. Okay, so the Lord is totally, all right, against these heathens' ways of thinking and acts and customs. And that's what we're here to tell our people. You need to stop following the ways of these other heathens, especially Esau, Edom, but all of them, man. All right. Now I just had a scripture come to my mind where the Lord said he will judge us. But let me read this first. Ezekiel 20 and 31. Well, Ezekiel 20 and 30. Wherefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord power, are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit ye whoredom after their abominations? Okay, because what were our people doing? Following after the other, okay, nations, the other gods, even before, okay, Alexander the Creep, okay? They were following after the ways of the Babylonians. All right. 31. For when ye offer your gift, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel, as I live, saith the Lord power? I will not be inquired of by you. Now let's go to the NLT version. All right. If you don't have an understanding of what the Lord was saying. For when you offer gifts to them and give your little children to be burnt as sacrifices, you continue to pollute yourselves with idols to this day. Should I allow you to ask for a message from me, O people Israel? As sure as I live, say the sovereign Lord, I will tell you nothing. Right, because the Lord ain't dealing with that. This is what the Lord said. 32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone. And that's what our people are still doing to this day. Okay? You say we want to be like the nations all around us who serve idols of wood and stone, but what you have in mind will never happen. Right? Because you're never going to prosper. You're going to catch, because the Lord's going to constantly judge, and he is. And look at the results. Let's look at the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, wherever they're at in Babylon the Great, destroyed, man. And that's what the Lord said he was going to do. Get Amos chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, verse 2, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I punish you for all your iniquities. And that's what the Lord did. Okay, and he used these heathens to punish us for constantly worshiping other idols. All right? Worshiping their gods. And this article proves it. Okay? Now I want to get to Romans, because now you understand the history of our people. All right? Making consent with the heathen, and then the Lord was like, okay, then I'm going to kick you off the land. And that's why Paul and Peter, all right, and the disciples, all right, after Yahushua died, came to preach the gospel, first to the circumcision, then to the uncircumcision, all right, to wake them up out of that dead sleep. You know, let's bring out the Maccabees of when they went into one consent. Right after Alexander the Creep, which is in the first book of Maccabees. So we'll start at Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, right? All you have to do is watch a movie, Alexander the Great, but we call him Alexander the Creep because he was a weirdo, all right? And he slept with men. He was a sicko, all right? Who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Now, these are when Edomites came into power. All right, prior to that, okay, the original Greeks were from the sons of Japhet. Okay, the original Greeks are from the Japhetic lineage. All right, and then Esau, being a devil, all right, conquers this area and then puts as himself as he's a Greek. All right, stealing identities like he always does. 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew kings of the earth. 3. And went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. Right, that's how much, okay, killings and war. So these are the Edomites, and that's what the Edomites do to this very day. That's why there's always war, because of so-called white people. All right, it all goes back to their history. 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Right. And we're all tributaries. Tributaries meaning paying tax. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you're tributaries to the so-called white man. All right. Stop paying tax. See what happens. 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And I read that. 5. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. 6. Wherefore he called his servants, the 4 generals, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. 8. And his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon them, right? Then upon themselves, right? These 4 generals. You had Cassandra, Licinius, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. Okay, Cassander, Licinius, all right, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Right, so when the so-called white man came into power, he brought nothing but evil. Okay, 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surname Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and reigned in the 130 and 70th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Okay? And I believe he's the line of the Seleucid dynasty because he wanted to go to war with Ptolemy. In those days, but here's the point. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded men in saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen, meaning let's learn their ways, let's learn their customs, let's do what they do, that they with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. All right. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license, meaning permission, to do after the ordinance of the heathen. 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. So there you have it. All right. You had Jake that willingly were, embracing heathen customs and being the ways of the Greeks, the Hellenistic period. All right. And so this is why in the time when Paul, hundreds, what was it? A couple of hundred years later, 200 years later, when Paul was on the scene, now he's bringing back those so-called Gentiles, which are Israelites, that were calling themselves Greeks, back into the fold. And that's why he said in Romans 10 and 12, for there is no difference between Jew and the Greek, because, just because you're an Israelite doesn't mean, you're going to be saved. You have to come under the belief and worship of Yahushai. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. You got to call upon his name. Which is Yahushai. His father's name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. 13, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. So you got to know his name. His name is Yahushai. His name's not Jesus. And just for edification, when you go into the word Greek here, it's Helen. Helen. It says, in a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and the learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship. So there you have it. So in this article just proves what we're saying, that you have Israelites that took on the Greek customs. They were playing, knuckle bones, some dice game that had a whole bunch of these Greek gods on it. And everybody was into it. And this is the Hellenistic period when Alexander, the Great came into power. So, and that's why the Lord said in Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. And there you go. So, Lord, when it's us edifying, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Wakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of great millstone who root well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it dark. Keep the faith. As you can see, we're pushing the right doctrine. We got the truth. And these archaeological findings prove. And, keep studying when you pray your head covered. And when you keep studying, when you pray for each other, pray for the apostles and elders. And to the few sisters that do watch, keep studying. When you pray with your head covered. Man's not supposed to cover his head when he prays. But a woman's supposed to cover her head when she prays. And, let's keep going. You can clearly see we're at the end. Shalom and a Baba Shalom.